Okay, really good episode of Boruto this week. We actually got a lot of reveals in this episode. But the biggest reveal out of all of this was seeing that Toneri Ōtsutsuki is still alive. The person who was talking to Boruto within his dream. Now, if anybody remembers, Toneri Ōtsutsuki is actually a descendant from Hamura Ōtsutsuki. And Toneri Ōtsutsuki was actually the antagonist in the last Naruto the movie. So, seeing him actually pop up yet again, while also telling Boruto that a certain doom is about to come down within the village, or just in humanity in general, the whole entire planet. A certain doom is about to partake, and you are the symbol of that hope. However, if you remember in the beginning of this episode where Boruto is in the theater watching along with his friends this movie about some type of, other shinobi, this hero, he apparently has a eye that is similar to the eye in which Boruto has. However, well, I wouldn't say similar, but to a certain extent, there is certain connections that we can make from the film, and also, Boruto himself. And his eye was actually considered an evil eye, okay, amongst villains, of course. And, as we know, he himself is a hero, okay, and he wants to save, hostages. That's what we saw in the film. He was saving hostages, saving people in general from evil. Now, if we look at this through Boruto's perspective, Boruto has the Tenseigan, okay? It's not a Byakugan, okay? It's a Tenseigan, which we will get to more into a bit as to the comparisons between the Byakugan and also the Tenseigan. However, going back to Boruto's perspective on this, Boruto's right eye, I believe it is his right eye, Boruto's right eye is the Tenseigan. Now, his eye could be considered evil amongst villains, just like how in the film the hero's, unique eye, the evil eye, is technically evil amongst villains because, they're scared of it, they don't want to be entrapped or snared into that sort of ability, which is why they try to fight back or run away, But overall, the character in that film was trying to save people, which is what Boruto wants to do. However, while his eye could be still considered evil amongst villains, could also be considered evil, like how it was said in the film, as something that could actually bring the destruction to the Hidden Leaf, okay? As we have seen from, these past few episodes of Boruto, or just in general of Boruto's personality, Boruto is a lot like his father, okay? But he's a lot more rambunctious, I guess you can say, and a lot more sporadic, okay? He's very prideful of himself, but he's also very immature at the same time. The point that I'm trying to make here is that could Boruto's newfound power end up consuming him, and could it also, end up, leading down to dire consequences later down the line? Because, again, he is still a kid, and he's completely new to this. So, he has to have a general grasp as to how he can control this, newfound power before it gets out of hand, and also before it, falls into the hands of, the wrong people as well. Because now he is a target, okay? So, like, when it comes down to that general factor, judging from what I got out of this episode, and also from what I've read in the manga as well of Boruto, Boruto is a symbol of hope and also destruction. And that really also depends on what route he chooses to go. Obviously, he wants to play the route of a hero, but of course, he's going to have dire consequences, and with consequences leads to destruction. And as we saw in the beginning of episode 1 of Boruto, we saw the whole fucking Hidden Leaf village, completely destroyed. Sure, that was most likely due to Iwaki, but at the same time, what I'm trying to get at here is that Boruto could also be 50% of the cause. Also, another reveal that we actually got in this episode was that Himawari actually awakened the Byakugan you know, at a very, very early age. Even Naruto himself states to Boruto that, you know, there are cases in which people have unlocked the Byakugan without serious training, like Himawari's case, for example, but you, however, have not gone underneath this training. And of course, we know that Boruto is upset by this because he thinks he is being shunned in front of his sister. His sister is getting, you know, all the high praise, so to speak, and he thinks that his father and mother don't trust him, blah, 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 you know. And now it's his time to prove it. By the end, from what we see in the episode, if he does, in fact, have the Byakugan, which he doesn't, but he has even something more powerful. And he's going to be apparently versing off against Hiyashi. Yo, Hiyashi, when I saw my dog come in, like, I mean, I was never a big Hiyashi fan, but, yo, when he came in, I was dying. I was dying because, I don't know, maybe it was just the way on how his face was animated at first when I first saw him, but I died laughing. It was so fucking hilarious. And then you also see him break out of character because, you know, as we know, Hiyashi is a very, very, very strict and serious individual. Very serious. And for him to just break out of character and start, like, hugging, you know, Boruto and Himawari, as a grandfather would do, it was just so funny to see, really. And then, of course, we also saw Hanabi back there. Hanabi. Hopefully I'm pronouncing these names right. We saw Hanabi as well, and it was good seeing her as well. But, I mean, that really about does it for the episode. I mean, those were just some massive reveals that we got, and obviously we know that things are now actually starting to get interesting in Boruto. Now, honestly, I think this was probably the best episode that we have had, because you know, it just had reveals. We also got a little bit more progression where it doesn't really seem like we're going to be sticking, you know, hopefully we just won't be in the same loop is what I'm trying to say, because judging from what we have seen in this Academy arc of Boruto, all we really have basically been seeing is that there seems to be a little bit of concern going along in the village, but ultimately the kids end up, you know, pretty much cakewalking it. You know, they can handle themselves, blah, 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 blah. So, I'm looking for something more, that's going to be more dramatic, okay? But if deaths are going to be involved, which I'm assuming they will be, if deaths are going to be involved, I really hope they're not for shock value. Hopefully they're not for shock value, because Masashi Kishimoto, or it was someone in a recent interview that said, if I have to kill off the entire, you know, old cast of characters from the original series, then I will do it in order to give the series higher praise or something like that, which is honestly not the way on how to go things. Please don't make this a shock and awe sort of series, okay? Let your characters have meaning, put emotion behind them, and then, you know, go ahead and kill them off. But it has to be impactful, not just for shock value. You know, so hopefully that doesn't happen, but yeah, regarding this episode of Boruto, I thought it was actually really, really good as well, and I'm very curious as to what exactly is going to go down, why Toneri is back, how is he alive still, and who, in fact, is the actual cause, you know, that is making this sort of chakra manifest itself, you know, to other people that are getting possessed by this. You know, like, is it Owaki? Are we really going to see him early on in this series? Or, you know, is it someone new entirely? Is Orochimaru back? I mean, eventually we're going to see him, I know for a fact, but just what is going on? I'm really looking forward to see who the next villain is in you know, the Naruto verse. So yeah, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. I thought this was an interesting episode. What about you guys? Be sure to hit that like button down below if you enjoyed it. And also, if you want to stick up to more updated future content on my channel, hit that red subscribe button down below, and you will never miss a video from me. That about does it for this video, guys. I'm talking really fast. I'm sorry about that. Messing up my words. But yeah. Hopefully you can forgive me on this review for that. Thank you all for watching. I will catch you all in the next one.